been a while and I can tell. So, I got a nifty new mug. Of course, my dogs are bumping into the tripod. They're gonna be a handful today because they're not used to me podcasting anymore. So pull the strainer out. This makes like super clear tea, which I love. Let's get this show on the road. Ooh. We have Izzy, affectionately known as Granny, who's feeling much more spry after having a couple of teeth out over the holidays, which she really needed to get done. Josh. And then, of course, she had to have problems because of that, because she's a Boston Terrier. They're special. What can I say? And dogs, whom I'm not going to show you because she just sat down. Okay, now that we have gotten the whole like awkward intro, don't know how to do this anymore because it's been a month out of the way. Hey guys, no humping. Be good. Be good. If only you could see them right now. We're gonna have bitey face Bostons on the bed here. Whoa! Don't throw Granny off the bed. She's old. Might hurry up. Let's see if I can get a picture. Okay, I missed the bitey face, but I got the licky face afterwards, which is what you're just playing. Okay, where was I? Round 3, let's try this one more time. Awkwardness of not podcasting for a month out of the way. How are all of you? I've missed you. I've missed podcasting, but I did not have the energy. I totally wore myself out with Vlogmas, and also just I was still getting over being sick. Now that I am totally back to normal over being sick, look at me, I can breathe. I'm back in action. So, hi, I am Echo. This is the Knitted Bean. This is episode 22. It is January 6th. It has been a whole month, and I hope you're all still doing well. I am doing good. It's been a long time, and I have a list of FOs a mile long to show you. So, let's get to it. The Knitted Bean is a nitty, nerdy, and sometimes sweary podcast with a side order of fandom at the end, although frankly, I'm probably going to cut that tiny portion for time today because I'm not kidding about the list of FOs, although you're getting mostly pictures because most of them were given away at Christmas time. I live in Montana with my husband and my 2 wonderful Boston Terriers, Izzy, aka Granny, who is 13, and Lugs, who acts like Karen, and I don't know, is about 6-ish, 7-ish, somewhere in there. She's giving me a dirty look for calling her a Karen, but she does always want to see the manager. Apologies to any Karens out there, it's a good name. If you're looking to get a hold of me, you can find me on Instagram at The Knitted Bean, where I have not been super active, but will be again now that I have some energy. And on Ravelry as The Knitted Bean, where I post all my projects, and I do have a small podcast group, though it's mostly for make-alongs. That's not my most active place. If you really need to get a hold of me right away, DM me on Instagram. I also have an email for the podcast, which is knittedbean@gmail.com. Anything that I mention in the podcast will be linked down below the jump. If you hit the little carrot, I do try and drop links for everything in there, whether it's the yarn, the dyer, the notion maker, whatever. All that stuff should generally be down there. And I feel like I'm really like, bleh. And I know this is gonna be a long episode, so I should like scoot the booch here. All right. So, we're gonna have to like refer to a lot of notes today. So I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Do you guys get that when you take a big break from doing something or you just totally forget how to do it? How's your weather? My weather is crap. And by crap, I mean fairly normal for Montana. It is -1 or 2 out there, which is like -18, 19-ish Celsius. That is without the wind chill. I'm not going to figure out what the wind chill is. It's cold. Cold enough that you will get frostbite if you go outside without gloves. Cold enough that the dogs will get frostbite if they spend too long outside piddling. So they get to run out, pee part way, come back in, warm up, run out, pee part way, come back in, because they will not wear little booties on their paws. I apologize if you can hear Izzy licking her paws. I cannot get her to stop today. She's just a granny dog. So what have I been up to in the last month other than sleeping a lot and trying to recoup all the energy? I did a podcast like literally a month ago. Then I put out one Vlogmas, which I was too tired to even like do a proper introduction or like good editing on. And then I recorded like clips for the second podcast or second Vlogmas. Never even made it to editing it. I was like, you know, I'm exhausted, frankly, and I like don't even have the oomph to get up and open like my advents. I would forget for a day or two. So yeah, you know, I always say that it takes me like a month or 6 weeks to recover even from like a cold, and mentally I don't really get that. I mean, I do, I know it to be an actual fact, but I have a hard time putting it in practice. So Izzy, thank you. Why don't you go sleep, Granny? She's like, oh, maybe. These dogs are such a hoot. They're like, what are we doing in here? We forgot what podcasting is. Granny. Izzy. 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 I covered her with a blanket and she's like, whoa. I have no idea where I was before the dogs interrupted. Okay, so I did take a hell of a break. I do feel better now. I am back full force and ready to rock. What has happened in the last month? Granny got 2 teeth out, which she needed to do. She had that one that was infected, and they also had to take out the one in front of it. She seemed like she was feeling much, much better after that. But then she also had like a major like, I'm freaking out moment, and I had to take her back to the vet, and it turned out that because she'd been on antibiotics a couple of times for her tooth in the last 6 months, then they put her on antibiotics and steroids before she had the oral surgery, then they put her on antibiotics and steroids after she had the surgery, that she had totally screwed up her gut flora. It was like completely fucked. So she like gave herself like twisted guts. And so then we had to put her on like a different like antibiotic, antimicrobial and probiotic, which we had to split up. Took her about a week with that, and then she's back to normal. Now she's totally back to like, I don't know, a year ago normal. Like she feels much, much more perky, and she's just a sweet old lady. She's got several more years in her, I'm sure. She's super happy. Legs is super happy. Husband's super happy. I don't know. He had a big long break for school, which he always enjoys. and I can breathe. So I am super happy. We did change up some of my meds, increasing them to make the breathing a thing. Yay. Gotta love that. Christmas went well. Nobody died in my world. That is a win, because after 2 decades in medical of like dialysis and ICU and things like that, like I really go by the blood, flood, or fire hypothesis. If there's no blood, there's no flood, there's no fire, nobody died, it was a good day. So that's how my holidays went. Although we did have a tiny flood on Christmas Eve. Admittedly, we got ready to go to my sister's. Turned around from making coffee, water all over the kitchen floor. What the heck? Okay, maybe we spilled water like doing the dishes. Mop it up, finish making coffee, drink our coffee, turn around, water on the kitchen floor again. Thankfully, I'm related to a plumber. They came and looked at it for free on Christmas Eve, because you do not want to know how much a plumber costs on Christmas Eve just to come look at something. Well over $200. And it was a thing that we need to order a part for. It's from like the little, you know, you used to have like the little thing that came out the side of the sink and you could spray. Well, now the faucets are like that. Anyway, it's our faucet sprayer, the hose. So where you used to be able to just go buy a new sprayer that went on the side and like all the sprayers were the same, every single like faucet brand has their own sprayer and it's proprietary, and you have to order the hose directly from them. So I have the number written down. Have I ordered the hose yet? No. It's been a week. More than a week. Like 10 days. Will I do it? Yes. Am I in a hurry? No. Should I be in a hurry? Yes. Right now we just have the hose pulled out into the sink so that when we turn the water on, it drips in the sink, and there's like pressure tape wrapped around it that my relative put on there, and I was just like, oh, that'll work. Other than that, I got my mobility bars in the bathroom for Christmas. Somebody bought them for me and then my husband installed, and they are amazing. I mean, I know PT told me to get them like a year ago, and I was like, I don't need mobility bars. I mean, I probably do, but I don't need them, right? And then I had a moment where I fell in the shower and I was like, I still don't need mobility bars. I'll just never take a shower again. I'll only take baths, but I'm like really unstable getting in and out of the tub. And we have like a corner tub thing. And so we put the mobility bars in there, and I'm like, oh my God, these things are amazing. Like, not just for getting in and out of the tub, and I feel so much more like stable, but like just for like holding on to while I do things. Like if I want to bend over and blow dry my hair, I haven't done that in, I don't know, well over a year, because I get dizzy and I would fall. And I'm like, oh, look, I can just hold onto the bar and I know which way is down and up still. This is amazing. So yeah, again, kind of like the cane or any other mobility thing or the scooter. Guys, if you need it, get it. You will not regret it. They're lovely. That was my Christmas. Nothing too exciting. How were your holidays? Or if you don't celebrate the holidays, how's your last month been? What have you done that's exciting? Did you go sledding or ice skating? I used to do those things back when I was able to do so without breaking anything. Other than that, I haven't really done much. I've been hiding. It's real fucking cold outside. And we had like one day where it was very warm, like 40, and all the snow melted. That was really nice. We had sun, but it only lasted a day. All right, moving on to admin. We do have a discount code for Naughty Knitting Sacks from Katie. That is Bean15. I will put it on the bottom here. Amazing sacks. You guys know I love them. Go check them out. Someday I will have even more of them. Can you tell I love my mug? Like the heat comes through this so well. And then the other big thing that everybody is waiting for is head, shoulders, fingers, toes, make along 2021 drawing. I have a winner for Instagram. I have a winner for Ravelry. So I will go over those right now. From Instagram, we have Charmed Knitter. I'll put that at the bottom here. Was post number 16. She had, or they had a series of hats. And from Ravelry, we have Sexy Nana. And that was, and I don't know why I didn't write down what. Because Sexy Nana put a couple of things in. So hang on 1 second here and I'll see which one it was. It was one of the muscle burrows. Muscle burra. Gotta say it right. I have to think about Edinburgh. I say Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh. I don't know. Probably screwing it up. I have a terrible American accent. I'm so sorry, Carabea. Pretty sure Carabea and the Knitting Hobbit both and Jonathan Stays, they're all like, can we just say it right? I'm like, I try. I do. Like, I won't be that person who's just like, I'm just gonna call it Musselburgh because I'm an American. But on the other hand, like, I totally have an American accent. When I go over there, I say Z, not Z, okay? It's life. I try. As a reminder, the prizes that are going to go out for the head, shoulders, fingers, toes COWL, we have from Arctic Crafts, Bente, has donated. This is a DK Fine Merino 100% salmon sushi with a cute little boba tea stitch marker and a very nice project bag with like 5 pockets inside, drawstring, by 3 Yarn Mice. It's got a nice canvas boxed bottom. It's so hard to show these pockets. I wish it was easier to see like inside on the camera, but they're really cool, and drawstring. So let me know if you have a preference one way or the other. I will try to accommodate. If both of you want the yarn, then I'll just go with whoever got it first. If both of you want a bag, I actually have a couple of bags from her, so I can accommodate that. So send me your physical address, DM on Instagram, or email me, or send me a DM in Ravelry, whatever your preferred message is. I will actually check Ravelry and be watching for it. I will try and get those out. I'm gonna say in the next couple of weeks because I'm just getting back in the swing of things and I don't want to like overpressure myself and then be like, I have a habit to doing that. So that is the knit along winners, and I'm so excited. It was a really fun one, and I definitely will probably do it next year as well. Okay, so into the business of things. I have a complete FO parade. I do not have all those FOs with me because the vast majority of them went out as Christmas presents. I did take pictures of them, and so I will pop them up that way. The first one is going to be the PASSERINE hat, which is by Erica Heuser. H-E-U-S-S-E-R. I'm sorry if I pronounce you wrong. Which is a stranded colorwork pattern. It's fingering weight. It runs $6. It's cute. I knew I wanted to make this for the person that I wanted to make it for like 6 months. They love birds. It's perfect. Maybe someday. No. I was gonna say maybe someday I'd make them the sweater, but they're not that knit worthy. Hat, yes. Socks, maybe. Gloves, sure. Scarf, yeah. Sweater, you know, unless you're me or my husband, maybe a real close friend. I don't know. I'm not into making sweaters for other people. What can I say? Especially not fingering weight sweaters. I make fingering weight sweaters for myself, man. It was a Christmas gift and I used the Sock Squad on it, which I would show you the leftovers, but you'll see them later. The next one that I made, which I'll put up here, was by Camille Decatur, and I do love her pattern. She's so good. It was also stranded color work, and it runs about $4.50 American. And it's called the Alaska hat. I decided to try the ladder back jacquard method. Like in the bottom rows where everything's close together, just regular stranded color work. But then when I started to get where the trees are pretty far apart, I did ladder back jacquard up the middle. Worked like a charm. It was a suggestion made by a knitter friend of mine where I was like, oh, you know, on a couple of these longer floats with the PASSERINE hat, like, I felt like I could have done a better job, and she was like, why don't you just try, you know, ladder back jacquard? And I was like, I've never done ladder back jacquard. She's like, oh, it's really easy. Guess what, guys? It is really easy, in fact, and I say that as like an intermediate knitter, so if you're like an advanced beginner, it would be really easy. I used Sock Squad and a Freya Minikin for the alternating color on it, which this is a single, and it says it's a fingering weight, but it kind of is like sport weight to me a little bit. Because you get 107 yards, but it's 25 grams. I don't know. Anyway, it was the colorway Sprout, and I really like it. At first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. It felt just like a little rustic, and it was just really because like I was mixing non-superwash with superwash, let's be honest. Hi, Vicky Lou. In the end, it came out really good. And the person loved it. They told me, quote, oh, look, it's a modern hat. Like, well, there's nothing wrong with that now, is there? Next Christmas present I'm in love with, and I wanted to make, again, I knew I wanted to make this for this person for like, I don't know, probably since July. And what I really wanted to do was make like a double loop cowl, LITMUS cowl, and I only had enough of the gray that I wanted to use to make a single, but it still looked really amazing. I totally want to make one of these for myself now. Sorry, I bent down. I totally want to make one of these for myself now. I have a needy dog. Does anybody want to come love on a needy dog? A needy dog. Yeah. She's like, just hold on to me. She's oblivious to the fact that she weighs like 17, 18 pounds, and this is not the most comfortable thing. Get comfortable for me, Mom. Hey. And they took it like a pup height chair in here so that they can sit next to me because they would like to be on camera more. Anyway, so I'll toss it up here. I made the LITMUS cowl, which is by Jude from Stranded Podcast. And I made it in rainbow colors. I used Sweet Georgia. I think it's asphalt gray for the background. I don't know. I have had that gray from Sweet Georgia for so long, and I love it. I did manage to use the very last of it on this, and hence why it's only a single loop. But the rainbow colors, I pulled all of them except for the orange out of my Chromatic Yarns Advent, and then I pulled the orange was Sweet and Sour from Yarnable from a few months ago, and it came out really good. I'm in love, and I would love to make myself another one. I don't think I have enough of those exact same colors to make one for me, but there are enough colors in the Chromatic Yarns Advent that I bet I could make a different rainbow out of them. And I definitely have more different grays because I'm a hoe for gray. So that was the LITMUS cowl. She just wants to chill, you guys. Oh my gosh. So then I made the last sock squat of the year. It was called Christmas Crack, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And my husband, I'll show you. Christmas Crack. My husband was like, you keep promising me you'll make Legs a sweater. Legs, when we got her, was like always hot. She grew up in a barn, so living in a house, it was 70 degrees, was like for her. But that was like 3 or 4 years ago, and now she is cold in the winter. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll make her a sweater. So I pulled up the pattern for Bitty Cash, which I've made before. I used the cast on numbers from that, and for like, I think the 12-month size. And I did some extra like chest shaping in the front. I did a split hem. I put in a little leash hole in the back, which is a very large buttonhole. And I used one of my advent calendars minis, and this is what's left, not very much, for the trim. I should show it to you. I do have it. I'll go grab it. Can you hop down so I can go grab your sweater? She's like, but Mom, I love you. I want to stay up. I'll be right back. Okay. So this is Lugs's Christmas sweater. Wow, Lugs, could we not? So this is Lugs's Christmas sweater. There's a little tag with an otter. This is neon. Is my neutral. And then this is the back, or the underbelly side. It fits her really good. It does have a little leash hole, although I kind of put it too far back. I should have put it further up, but I wasn't thinking. But it does fit her, and she's literally like, please put this on me right now, Mom. She likes it a lot. You ready? Oh. Say, my sweater fits good, huh? Yeah, she loves it. She's like, it's cold outside. Of course I love it. It was cold in here as far as I'm concerned. Huh. Oh, she's so snuggly. She's so snuggly today. Huh? Why are you so snuggly? Come here. Why don't you sit on the bed? You're alright. Just make a little home for yourself up there. Anyway, so Lux got her first sweater. I've made Izzy sweaters before, freehand, like before I even really knew what the fuck I was doing with knitting. So this is the first dog sweater I made where I like kind of knew what I was doing. Honestly, they look about the same. Says a lot. All right, moving on. Another Christmas present that I made, I will put over. Granny almost didn't make it on the bed. Another Christmas present I made, I will put over here. Is the AMELIA Floral Cable Cowl. It came in a cable cowl and a cable hat pattern for $6 US. No, $5 US. It's by Vicky Chan Designs, and it was actually designed with Illimani Emily yarn. That's the recommended yarn. And this is the softest yarn I have ever felt, you guys. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. It's this stuff. It's the chain with the merino or whatever blown through it. Now I have some other stuff that I think was Lang, which is also a chain with whatever blown through it, and I gotta say, And this stuff is so bright. I don't even know that you can get the right. There we go. Yeah. The AMELIA stuff is softer. I don't know why. It's less dense. So, needless to say, I love that stuff and I would love to make a sweater out of it. However, it comes in 50-gram hanks. And I think each hank is $30. I don't remember for sure. Maybe it's less. It might be 15. A lot of the Illuminati yarns around about 15 or 18, but I feel like that was 28 or 30. I bought it a long time ago when it first came out, so maybe a year ago or more, with specifically the intent to make a present for the person that I made this for, because blue is their favorite color. You know I love you if I make baubles for you, and that is all I can say. It was a Christmas present. Hopefully they like it. They said they did. Second to last Christmas present was the SANDOVAL hat by Robyn Devine. This was a free pattern, and I used this yarn that I got from Grizzly Bear Knits in a giveaway that I won, and I loved it. It's just a woolly wool worsted weight, and the pattern was for a worsted weight, but when I knit this up it seemed like just a little too open on the needle size, so I did drop it down a needle size. And reading through everybody who made it, they were like, the pattern is really long, and even with the folded brim it was still kind of baggy at the top, and I knew the person would not like that. So I cut 1.5 inches off. Somebody said that they'd cut 1.5 inches off and theirs was perfect, so I cut 1.5 inches off of mine and it came out great. This ended up fitting, and I was like totally guessing on the recipient's head size. I'm in a medium. It ended up fitting the recipient great. He is like a hardworking outdoor kind of dude, and this is like gonna be perfect for him. I measured it enough to make another one, and I am tempted to make one for my husband, because I was looking at his hats the other day and they are like 1.5 years old, and I mean, they look okay. They could use like a shaving, but he's gonna need a new one eventually, and that would be a really good yarn for it. Last Christmas present, gonna go over here. These are my favorite gift knit ever, and you will see that very shortly. These are the fingerless mitts. They are by Goodenough Knitter, and they're a free pattern. I cannot recommend them enough. You do not have to knit a thumb, like it's just a gusset, no fiddly thumb knitting. I can whip if I'm not rushing, I can whip up a pair of these in 2 days. I'm positive that I could whip up a pair in a day if I was like, oh, I gotta get this done. So they're a great gift knit. Last minute, pop them out. I do like a firmer fabric, just like I do with my socks. Like I like a tighter knit. And so I forget if it's, I think they suggest a 2 and a 3 or a 1 and a 2 needle size. I always drop down to my typical 0 for the cuffs and the ribbing, and a 1 for the rest of the body. And I just bump up to about sock sizes for knitting numbers. So like if it's a dude, I might do 64, maybe 68, or if they had huge hands I might do 72. For me, I do like 60, or even like a 56, because I don't have that big of hands. And that has always worked out really reliably for me to give me a nice, good tight weave, and like it fits well. So I do still have a pair though that I knit on like the original needle sizes, and I mean, they work good. They're just a little, like they let a little bit more wind in than what I would want. And part of that could just be that I live in a really freaking cold climate. The only other thing that I have to say on them is I do prefer a longer wrist cuff. And so like I have figured out that I like a 25 row wrist cuff. I like 8 rows between my wrist cuff and where I start my thumb. And I think they suggest 5 or something like that. And I don't even remember what they suggest for the ribbing on the wrist. At this point, I literally have pattern memorized. I've made like, I don't know, 6 pairs, probably more. They're so good. Anyway, I made these with, the blue is Moffy and the Squid, and then the gray was scrap yarn that I used up the very last of, and they went over like a hit for Christmas. Last FO is the elephant in the room. I'm wearing it. This is my PRYANIK sweater. I have my glorious little elbow patches from the Netherlands, the haberdashery that I got there. I did hand sew those on with a contrast embroidery thread. This one's a little like off, but it tends to work. I tend to not care enough to fix it. Like if I wear it a lot and push it up a lot, it rolls in a little, that's all. What else on this? I did really like this sweater. I have a 53-inch bust and I made the size 8, which was a 55.5. So should have had like a 2.5-inch ease. I think I definitely have more than 2.5 inches of ease. It might be more like 4 inches of ease. My gauge was spot on in my swatch, but I did swatch flat. So I think my actual round gauge was probably a little bit off. I could check it now, but I haven't bothered. And then I made a few mistakes throughout. I won't lie, I didn't find the pattern the easiest to read, in that it just didn't spell things out in the way that I would spell them out, but it was spelling them out. Like, you know how some patterns are like, pick up, you know, stitches for the neck, and that's all they tell you and they expect you to know how. This one didn't do that. Like, it did spell out like how many stitches to pick up here and there, and it was really specific, which for a newer knitter would be great, but like it didn't spell it out in exactly the way that like my brain would spell it out, and so sometimes that tripped me up. You would have to, so on the pattern it doesn't have the leather patches, you knit patches. So this is all purled and then you knit patches. And it has like 2 sections, and you're working the 2 sections at the same time, like how to do the patch and how to do the arm. And I think if I was doing the knitted patches, that probably would have thrown me. But now that I have done the whole pattern, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that, because like I've gone through it and understand it. Would love to make this in the recommended yarn, which is this stuff, which is Farmer's Daughter Craggy Tweed, and I do love it. I have a cowl out of this, but I just don't think I can justify that. It would be so expensive for something my size. Yeah. Maybe if I like win a ton of money or something. But as it is, I made it out of Queensland recycled tweed. This is what I have left. This is 88 grams. So I ended up using 4 balls and 12 grams, and they're 100-gram balls, which worked out to be less than 1,600 yards by a little bit. This knits up kind of like a cotton. It is 40% recycled wool and then 60% varying percentages of recycled polyamide and recycled nylon type thing. So basically 60% plastic, 40% wool. It's not superwash as far as I know. Maybe it is. It says it's machine washable, so maybe it is superwash. I don't know. Anyway, it's not merino soft. Somebody asked me on a server that I'm on, like how soft is it? And I said it's medium soft. I said it is not as rustic as Icelandic wool or even Norwegian wool, although maybe Norwegian wool. Though I doubt it. But it is not merino soft. So it is like in between Norwegian wool and merino. I could probably wear Norwegian wool next to skin. I'm not super itchy, or I'm able to ignore itch fairly well. Like mohair makes me itch if it's on my forehead, but I can usually ignore it to wear a hat. It feels really soft on the knit sides and really soft on the purl sides, like when you're going with the grain, but when you go against the grain, then it feels a little itchy. The only place that I've really noticed itch is on my underarm, and that's like probably the most sensitive area on me. So I'm like, oh yeah, my underarms itch a little, but not enough to stop me from wearing it next to skin. I did end up with enough positive ease that I can 100% wear this over a t-shirt. Long sleeve, short sleeve, tank top, does not matter. I really didn't modify the pattern in any way. Normally I do like A-line and different things, but I didn't do that. Let me stand up and give you a squirrel. Oh Lord. My dogs are like, you're moving. You're moving. So the further back I get, like the harder it is to see their real color, but way to the corner. It's kind of like wide at the bottom, boxy fit. There's a little bit of shaping, I think. I don't remember. Maybe there's not. Tapered arm, but not like super tapered. And V-neck. And then you would have your patches, which for me, or the leather, and if you follow the pattern, are knits on a purl sleeve. So I would totally knit it again. A couple of things that I would do. I would probably knit one size down. Because like this is a lovely boxy, like I call this my old person sweater because I could wear it over anything I wanted, and it's just, especially with this yarn, it seems like it's going to be really hard wearing and I can just toss it on whenever I want. I'm not worried about the dogs like snagging it or anything. And it was really reasonably priced, especially for a sweater of my size. This stuff was $12.50 a ball. And I used just over 4 balls. Like if I had decided to make the sleeves a little shorter, I probably could have gotten away with 4 balls, which would have been less than $60. Less than $50. As it was, it ran about $62, which is really amazing for me. Even in a cheap yarn, a sweater for me can be super expensive. Plus this was like a sport DK rate, and those in particular can be really expensive for me because I'm often going to need like 6 or 8 balls. And this has a really high yardage for what you're getting. I would totally make my husband a sweater out of this. What else? I used a size 8 needle no, I made size 8. I used a size 7 needle and sport weight yarn. I did get gauge, like I said, although I think in reality, I probably ended up with more like 4 inches of busties. I know it seems like I have a lot of ease at the waist, but like at actual bust, I'll probably only have about 4 inches. So I got big boobs. The only thing I would do different if I did it again, I would add a couple short rows to the front bottom. And I keep saying I'm gonna do that, and then I forget to do it when I make the sweater, and it's just because my chest is so big, it like raises the front hem up and like tries to give me a belly show, and I need to remember to do that. Like, mental note, you're gonna add an A-line, make sure you add those as well. Oh, I lied. One more finished object. My husband's Christmas socks, which I do have but can't show you because apparently he wore them today. I cannot find them, so I'll pop a picture in. I used Mothy and the Squid Cinnabar Moth Red for the toes, and I think this was called like Moonless Night by Sheepyshire, which I love, and I'll probably end up making him some more socks or something like that. Maybe me some socks. I do love Sheepyshire yarn. I put a little gusset in around my Fish Lips Kiss heel because he has a really like thick flat instep, and that worked okay. I still think that the Fish Lips Kiss heel is probably not the heel for him, and I think I'll do like I'm gonna try the Vanilla is the New Black heel on him next time. I've done it a couple of times and it always comes out like too deep for me, so perhaps it'll be the ticket for him. So he got those for Christmas. He was really excited. Those are the first socks I've ever made him. I make socks for my writing partner in Germany all the time, and I give away socks as gifts fairly frequently, but he had never shown interest in socks, so I never made him any. And he was like, how come you never make me socks? And I was like, I didn't know you wanted any. So now you got those. All right, so for whips, I really only have one that I've started and then one that I'm starting on Saturday. So in my fat squirrel bag, I have yet another pair of fingerless mitts. Told you. I love those patterns. So these are for my husband for his birthday, which is coming up very shortly. This is some leftover Sock Squad yarn, and then I have another one started, just barely. This was his request. He has been stealing mine, and he's got them all stretched out, so I was like, fine, I'll make you some of your own. That's about it. I decided to try something different this time where I knit a separate color across the top of the thumb, and then I bound off in that color. So we'll see how that holds up. Other than that, there's nothing crazy or special about those. I did 68 stitches on them. And obviously I love the pattern. I started those last night. The pattern that I'm gonna start this weekend. So, you guys know that I'm in like a big fan fiction Discord server. I help mod, and just in general have been in there for like, I don't know, 2 years, right? So one of my knitty friends is also in there, and you would be amazed. I know I say this all the time, but knitting and fan fiction crisscross a lot. So there are actually a lot of knitters in there and a few crocheters. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, me and my writing partner hosted like a maker's night on there where we all got in voice chat. We all talked about various like things that we were making. It wasn't just fiber arts, it was everything. We had people who were doing computer coding on games, and we had people who were doing painting and miniatures and knitting, and you name it, it was on there. That was really fun. So another person, my knitty friend, and I have bounced back and forth the idea of doing a knit along just within the server, like just as a, hey, there's like 10 or 15 of us, maybe more of us in here in the server who knit, and we're spread across the globe. She's in China. I'm in the US, we have people in Australia, we have people in the Netherlands, we have people in Germany, we have people in Sweden, you name it, right? Canada, all over. And so we were like, it would just be really fun to like do that. In general, pretty much everybody who's in the server has like at least a basic speaking knowledge of English because the server is in English, and so it would be fine if we picked a pattern in English. And she knows that I have been chomping at the bit, haha, not really, to try brioche, but also terrified. And she keeps telling me, oh, it's easy, it's easy, it's easy. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. So she was like, oh, did you see the new Hohi pattern that came out for the collective shawl? It's brioche and it looks really cool. And she's right, it does look really cool. And I do love a good Hohi pattern. And I really do want to try brioche. And she's like, we should do a knit along. And a couple other people who, well, actually the way that this worked was a couple other people were in there looking at it with her. Some were like, oh, that's really cool. And then she's like, we should do a knit along. And I was like, yeah, we totally could. So then a bunch of people were like, yeah, we would do a knit along. And then a few other people were like, well, I would do a knit along, but like I literally can only cast on, knit, and cast off. Or I can only cast on. And we wanted it to be inclusive. So we were like, well, that's okay. We can pick a couple of patterns like from beginner to brioche. And so we picked like a couple of beginner like lace patterns where it's literally like only yarn overs and knit two togethers. And we picked the Hohi shawl, and then my friend wrote up like a very basic marled shawl, which is literally just, you can do it if you know how to knit, you know how to pick up a stitch, knit front and back, and I think that might be it. Knit two together for the bind off, maybe. I mean, it's like super, super basic. I don't even think there's a yarn over in there. And we were like, even if you do not know how to knit, we can teach you how to do this pattern. You don't even have to marl it. You could just get like DK weight yarn and just knit it, and it would just be a garter stitch shawl with an I-cord binding that you would not realize was an I-cord binding until you were done. So I'm totally gonna do this Hohi shawl, and I'm a little torn, and you know how much I love my grays. I have two grays. I have my Uncle Fester, which is like always my favorite, but I also have this one, which is the one I'm leaning towards right now. It's called Ghost Ship, and it's from Treasure Goddess. It's a bit lighter and it's a bit more tonal, as you can see. All right, now I do kind of lean towards this. It's also a little bit thinner because it's a 75-25 instead of an 80-20. So I'm going to do the collective shawl in a gray background, and then I'm going to use my advents. I need to pick 5 Advent minis to do this brioche with. Now, my husband, as you all know, is an art teacher and a potter. This was my Christmas present from him. What did I do? I filled it with my Advent minis. Actually, not quite all of them are in here because not quite all of them would fit to make a perfect little Advent flower. But that's part of them. And then the ones that I used in my LITMUS COWL are here. I don't think that I will, but I might reuse some of these colors. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then I tucked the rest of them in my other one. So I mean, some of these, like these things and these things, think about like this is all my Advent stuff, and then this is stuff I already had. But I think I will probably pick them all from the Advent. I'd kind of like to do a little rainbow, kind of like my idea for the LITMUS COWL. And I'll pop a picture of the collective shawl up here. I just think it would look really neat as like a gray rainbow. I could do, I wonder if I have enough of the Moonless Night to do the black. I don't know how much of this Moonless Night I have left. Probably like 50 grams, maybe. Not a ton. I feel like it will use more than that. So yeah, something bright. It's gonna be bright. Go like all purples. I don't know. I haven't decided, but I better hustle it up and decide because Saturday is coming fast and we're casting on Saturday. It's a $5 pattern by Hoyo Locatelli, the collective shawl. I'm gonna try brioche. Wish me luck. I'm gonna die. Other fun things that I got for Christmas, besides obviously my pottery. So in my advent there were D&D stitch markers by Yarnison, which were super cool, and dice as well, which was super cool. So now I have 2 sets of dice, neither of which I've bought for myself, like in like the sense of like choosing them, picking them out. One was sent as a gift and one came in the advent. And I just kind of love it because one set looks kind of black and silver, but it's actually color change. With like the longer that you hold them and your hands get warm and all that jazz, they start to color change to red, like that. To red and silver. And then this is the set that came in the Chromatic yarns. So now I have come on, there we go, 2 red sets, which I find very exciting. Another thing I got was a cocoa butter body bar. That smells like lavender, which I really like. And then I got some yarn bonbons, 2 10 packs with, it says surprise colors. So like, there's a little bit of overlap. I got a couple of whites, and then a lot of not overlap. These are cotton, and there is, shoot, I think like 10 grams of each, maybe 5 grams of each. Yeah, 20 times 10. So, I'm not sure exactly what I'll do with these yet. Probably some cool dishcloths or something. That will be fun. That's kind of what I've got. Normally I would do a fanfic recommendation at the end, but frankly I'm exhausted and it's just not gonna happen today. That's all I got. Tons of FOs. One work in progress, one soon to be work in progress, a couple obnoxious dogs, and a very tired Echo. I will see you in 2 weeks, back on Tuesday, my regular schedule for episode 23. And hopefully some progress on a shawl. Maybe I will have started some other things by then too. Who knows? In the meantime, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or midnight, whatever time zone you're in, and stay safe. Stay warm if you're in a cold spot, and stay cold if you're in a warm spot.